Hi guys, welcome to another video, and I did a practical experiment, and this is the theoretical thesis, the cause and the effect of the optical phenomenon, the optical perception of the sunlight, this yellow whitish light, and the flares that comes out of the sun, and also the nova. And the nova is like ultraviolet, red, orange, yellow sometimes. So I did an experiment on my first video of practical experiments, and this is my theory. So as you see, I drew my theory on this board, and I will explain it closer. So this is a theory, what might be the cause and an effect why we see the sun in a light spectrum of white, yellowish, and that those flares that come out of this object sun, and the flares that coming out of the sun, and also the nova flares that we experience from time to time. So the cause is from here. In my theory, the cause that affects all that is something, a red spectrum light. There must be a red spectrum light, right? It starts from here. So the cause is, in my theory, there is a red spectrum light that hits on something, which is here blue, that should represent the red light spectrum, the red light spectrum particle hits something that is liquid, flexible, bendable material particle, which represents the blue. So this is the red light that hits that liquid, bendable, flexible material or sphere or layer. And what happens is, when it hits that flexible, bendable, liquid, movable layer, the red light breaks in 5, 6, 7 particles. So instead, if you've seen a red dot, one red dot, it becomes then 6, 7 dots in that liquid, flexible, bendable layer, which is here. And the effect of it is that reflects the sun, which is then yellow whitish, and that what is reflecting on the sun, what we call nova flares, or the flares what comes out of the sun, is actually a reflection, the cause of what's going on here. So the question is now, 5 minutes before I made a video, that if you see right here, I drew a mirror, a bending, the 120 degrees, right? But after I was looking onto it like 5 minutes ago before I made the video, it could be that this bending layer could be also represent this, right? So that it's like, instead of here, I'm just gonna draw over it, that it's like this. And then the sun would be here, and so the sun would be here instead of here, and the flares, which is here, and the novas, that comes out of the sun and what we experience from time to time would be then here. And everything takes place in this bendable layer or atmosphere, whatever it is. But it's still the same, I would say the same light. So instead of going that way, it's bending and it causes the sunlight, which is yellow and whitish, and that what we see, well, we cannot see directly, but we just see the yellow-white light, which we call it object, which we gave it the name sun, and those nova flares, and the sun, what it spikes out as fire, because we really don't know what it is, because nobody's been on the sun. We just think on theories and making conclusion. So either from these two things. So I think that something, a light stream, a light from, I don't know from what planet or from what object, it sends a red spectrum, a red light spectrum. It hits the bendable, flexible, liquidal material that's in the atmosphere, and by hitting that, it breaks apart in 6, 7 yellowish, orangish, whitish particles. Right? It hits here, it spreads out in other particles, and then it creates the yellowish, whitish sun with the flares and the nova flares that comes out, right? So it could be either this way or this way, but it's more I'm thinking of, it could be that this liquid bendable material, when the red particle, the red light, the source, the first hits, so it's first red, it's a red light spectrum, it's the cause, and because of the red light spectrum and the liquid bendable flexible, which I make here blue, hits, it breaks in 6, 7 particles and looks like orange, red, whitish particles, and that causes the yellow whitish sun and those flares, the sun flares and the nova flares that we experience. So this is my theory. I hope you understand that. It's quite interesting. I know that the thing is, I feel more and more confident that there's some kind of a layer in the atmosphere, and it has not to be stationary, like a fixed spot, but there is an atmosphere or layer that is bending. So everything, when it hits it, it's bending, and this is what gives us all this optical perception and this optical phenomenon. That's why it's so hard to get really into it, you know, like flying with the rocket over there, standing on the sun, but we think it's hot, fire and all that. But this is all, you know, these are all theories and all that. So that's my theories, the Jakubczyk theories. I hope you understood my theory. Let me make a summary real quick. I think the cause of what we see as a sun, this yellow, white light, and the flares, the sun flares, and it could be obviously heat, thermal heat, which I think has also something to do with it, and the nova flares is caused by a red spectrum light that comes from somewhere, maybe from another planet, whatever, I don't know, that hits the liquid layer, the liquid atmosphere, or the bendable, flexible atmosphere, and that causes what we see as the yellow-white sun and the sun flares and these nova flares, right? So thank you for watching.